What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Big Things Coming.
Big Things Coming.
Melanie, Geordie, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. I'm good.
Doing
I'm good.
On the beer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're the ginger beer.
I got a ginger beer.
Oh, what's going on there?
I'm that guy.
Water.
What are you doing?
What a legend.
What a noob.
Geordie,
Flip
Mel.
of like, sorry, of ABBA? Instead of Waterloo, it was, what a noob, what a noob. Wouldn't drink beer if he wanted to. All right, so, how are we doing tonight? How are you guys going?
Okay.
Sidetrack.
Okay.
The episode's only just started. I feel brain fucked already.
It's 44 seconds in. Okay.
Can only go up from here.
Hey, Melanie.
Yes.
Who's the
Melanie
guest we
now.
got today?
Far out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know it's serious when I call you by your full
Let
name.
me get my dreads already. We have the amazing, very talented, a dear friend of mine. He is one of the best musicians I've ever known, an amazing songwriter, probably the smartest person I know too. We have Dr. Jacob Kenny in the house. Give it up.
Jacob.
Thank you very much for having me, everybody.
How are you, bro?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling chill, very
Yeah.
relaxed.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, Jacob, we have got so much to discuss in
Oh,
today's
yes,
episode.
I
we
know.
do.
First
Big
of all,
one.
like, so everyone at home is aware Jacob is the fearless frontman for Perth band Legacy Alive.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
And you guys have been working your asses off. Well, you're always working your asses
Always.
off. And you're always providing fucking amazing music. We've been fortunate enough to play a gig with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always fun.
It is great fun. Yeah, we did the one for Destroy All Lions, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
right?
Rin Rin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that
It was
was
a lot of fun.
at a venue that's no longer with us, which is sad to say.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Convenience.
Yeah,
but
bit
that
of
was
a
a good
shame.
night. you
It
know.
was a good night, yeah. I've had some really bizarre nights at convenience in my
I think
time as
everybody
well.
has.
And yeah, it will sit on my top 5 weird gigs I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Is at convenience. Somebody
Yep.
ate a glass.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like there was a doctor in the house. It had to be said. Fuck.
She was trying to get on stage too, and we were all like, "Yeah." They were like, "No, no."
I remember you telling me about that,
Yeah,
actually, and I was
yeah.
like, "What the?"
Yeah, it was odd.
Oh, it was a bit more than odd.
Was it like a threat?
No.
Let me on stage or
No,
That's
she was just
fucking metal,
keen.
dude. Like,
just
Yeah.
guys?
I know. Yeah.
Like what? Okay,
Big
just-
ups.
was it a beer bottle? Was it a glass? Was
No,
it?
it was a cocktail glass.
Okay, yeah, I
yeah.
always go for the cocktail glass.
Oh yeah, thinner glass, easier to digest.
straight out.
you know, I've heard of bands like eating or not eating, like
Oh.
smashing beer bottles on their heads. You know, OJ are famous for that. Like
Rat salad.
Rassard, right? But eating a glass, like,
just have to
and
ask
that
the
was just
question.
someone in the crowd.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. So we were doing a gig there, and I think it was our 10-year anniversary of our first album.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And it was packed to the back. It was really great.
Yeah.
And there was just this group that were vibing hard, and they weren't followers of the band.
Yeah.
They were just there, and
Yeah.
they were like lit up by it. And one of the girls was just trying to get on stage constantly. And Owen's next to me going like, "Yeah, this is cool. See if she can get up." And she couldn't get up. And thank Christ she didn't get up. But then she started just running around in the pit. And she had a cocktail glass in her hand. And then she just took a bite out of it. And all of her friends were around her going, "Yeah." And then they were like, "Oh, no." And the bouncer could see it at the back. And he couldn't quite get there. But
Right.
eventually somebody surfed her out. But it was...
No one's resuscitating her.
No.
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 No,
Did she just smile back and it was just blood?
She was wearing a white top and it just went...
Oh my god! It's like,
Yeah,
oh, your
so we
music
knew
is
it
so
was-
lit. You make you want to eat glass.
Still not the weirdest gig I've ever done though.
Oh, damn.
Okay,
You were doing
alright.
your job, though, obviously.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
That is hardcore, man. Like,
Hardcore.
I don't think I could ever go to that level. You know, like.
Dude, you have a brain in your head. You know not to do it.
We discussed this last episode. I still don't know what a prefrontal cortex
That's
is.
okay. We have the doctor to explain that.
Speaking of the
That's
duck,
three now.
please give us some background on this doctor that they're talking about.
Oh, so I have a PhD in the medical field in pathology. So pathology is human disease. I specialised in bone diseases, orthopaedics. Wow. So I work in the UWA medical school.
Wow.
And I consult to private industry.
That's
and
huge.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Just had a medical paper published.
I did, yeah.
Yes.
So I had a
Yeah.
paper published earlier this year, work that I did for a long time on osteoarthritis of the knee, and that was,
Congrats, man.
a
Amazing.
long burn.
Do you remember we were
Yeah.
talking about it, Jacob? You were like, if I could just get as many listeners as I do for people that read that medical article or medical paper.
I found it so funny because when I got it published, it's kind of ranked in a similar way that music is. You know, if you get it out in like a really good label or something like that and really, really high impact where everybody sees it versus you just put it out and nobody really reads it. So I was somewhere mid-tier with the paper, and in like the first month, I think it got 1,000 reads.
Cool. Whoa.
And when you think about the niche environment of people who are interested, particularly in the genetics of arthritis in the knee, there's not a lot of people, whereas the people who like rock and roll is a lot more.
Right.
1,000 people read that paper in the first month. I was just like,
Gobsmacked.
But
do they like rock and roll too?
Could you just like marry a link up to it where like it just kind of linked to your band as well? Like, read this and listen to this while you're reading it.
Well, it worked for Professor Brian Cox.
It
you know,
did.
like, we were just discussing this. You are Perth's Brian Cox, man.
Which
and
is
I've
amazing.
got so much respect for you because you're a doctor by day, rock star by night.
Absolute rock star.
Yeah.
Sometimes they blend into each other.
The red
At
thing's
gigs at
connected to
convenience.
the blue thing.
The red thing connected to the blue thing.
I was going to like the knee bone. That would
I know where he was going.
Yeah, it was Dr. Nick Riviera
like-
on The Simpsons. Yeah.
I'm like deceased now. You
The red
killed me with
thing's
that.
connected to my wristwatch.
Yeah. Speaking of, Doctor in the day, Rockstar at night. Give us a little backstory behind Legacy Alive.
Okay, so Legacy Alive has been my my passion project in my band for the majority of, like, I suppose, my adult years. I played music in bands since I was probably about 12 years old, little groups and youth group stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a child of music, I suppose. My dad's a career musician.
Your dad is amazing. Let's just not dull that down.
Yes.
You know, your dad is like, you know.
So my dad's name is Ian Kenny, not Carnival.
My eyes.
Scotch it down.
lit up.
just slow your roll.
Yeah, there are 2 Ian Kennys in Perth. One of them
Is there any relation?
None.
None at all.
No.
And so you've done the family tree history thing. Like, no.
Yeah.
Just,
He
it's just a
He
very
scoped that
popular
shit
name.
out. He was like,
Yeah.
how can I get connected to Carnival?
royalties.
But
You
like,
don't need it though.
they're aware of each other, and in fact, I've got a picture somewhere. Maybe I'll send it in so you can put it up of the 2 Ian Kennys together at a
Yes.
carnival gig.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, we went down. Well, we've got good relations with those guys. So
See, I used to be a postie. Like, I would have gotten your mail mixed up at some point. man.
Our dads actually know each other quite
do,
well, which
yeah.
is kind of
Okay.
interesting. So my dad used to book bands and
Yeah.
and sort of like be an agent for them.
Yes.
And and he was for Jacob's dad. So
That is
and that's
amazing.
I know, it was just like this full circle thing, and it was like, and now we're playing together. And now we're doing this.
Well, I was
oh,
just
look at
gonna say,
that.
like, that is so cool. Like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's telling
You know,
us.
the generation.
Yeah.
Like, the generation.
Yeah.
It just keeps going down, and like, you know, their son and daughter, you know, they're now playing gigs together, and you never know, maybe one day, like, eventually your kids might be playing gigs together.
never know.
You know, like, yeah.
Pretty
I
cool.
mean, I'm sure that Mel can relate to this. It's a little bit like, you know, the Harry Potter moment when you're the child of somebody
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
been
yeah.
well
Oh, yes.
established.
Yes.
You go into Cosmic Sound or you go in somewhere, they're like,
Yeah.
bless my soul, it's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I got that everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I know you.
You're
know
Ian's
you.
boy.
Okay, old
And
man.
you don't have a name.
No.
You know, like for me, when I first started playing in bands and stuff, and like I was young, you know, when I started playing, and like I left high school and stuff, and then I'd come back to the circuit, and then because I was overseas, and I'd come back
Yeah.
to the circuit, and then they'd be like, "Oh, Danny Flynn's daughter, you're Danny Flynn's daughter, you're Danny Flynn's," and I
That's
said to my
right.
dad, "I'm going to divorce you as my father. Like I can't have you as my dad anymore. You're killing me. Nobody knows my name. Nobody wants to learn my name.
Yeah.
They just think, oh, get in with Dan's daughter because he'll get us the gigs and blah blah blah." I'm like, and then I said to my dad, "You're not allowed to book me gigs anymore. I'll get them my fucking self." No, literally, I fired him.
Oh, wow.
I did. I said, because no one knows who I
Dad,
am, and
I love you. You're fired.
Literally, I mean, I didn't fire. That's the wrong word. But I just said to him, I'm going to get the gigs myself, and then when I want your help or need it, if you're willing to give
Yeah.
it to me, then
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
work
yeah.
together. But it took
Like,
a
you
long
want
time.
to work
Yeah.
for your status.
Man,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you don't want to
And
be
that's-
told like, oh, you're a good
Yeah.
singer or you're a good front person or this
I-
because or just because you're Danny Flynn's daughter. Go fuck
100%.
yourself.
I respect that. I respect
So
that.
one of Jake's
But your
sort of
dad can
felt-
get me gigs.
No, anymore. But like, did you go through that? Like,
I did a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. But and I really attached myself to my dad with that kind of approached when I was much younger, but when Legacy kind of started in 06 was when I really thought I wanted to try to do some things myself.
Yeah.
So he got us our first gig,
Yeah.
which was at the Newport in Freo, and that was a really great gig.
Did you
Yeah.
say 06?
Yeah.
So you guys have nearly been going for, 18 years,
Yes.
nearly 20 years now.
Yeah.
That's incredible, dude.
Yep. So, yeah.
Like, still the original
So
lineup?
myself and Curtis are the original songwriters,
The
guitar
OGs?
players.
Yeah.
Different drummers and bass players over the years for various different
And
reasons.
Frank's bloody legend, man.
Oh, Frank's probably been
Yeah.
the guys in the band at the moment are the longest stay since it started, for
Yep.
sure. So Frank's been at the helm now for, over 10 years. And
do
Owen
you,
for
do you
quite
think
some
like
time.
Legacy has really evolved? Like, since think back to your first gig or your first rehearsal with Legacy, like the OGs, and you think to now, like, have you all like matured as a band? No.
I can attest to that.
As people, no.
He said, Willie.
Matured as songwriters, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when you first start a band, sometimes you might have a really clear direction of where you want to go. But we were really inspired by music at the time, and we were playing bits and pieces here and there. But we were, when you're young, you're like, I want to be like Metallica, and you realize everything that comes out sounds like, Green Day, and you're like, that's a shame. But then if you start leaning into it, all of a sudden you get yourself a really good punk rock band.
That's exactly how I started, man. Like, the thing is, like, my bands that I was most heavily influenced by, Metallica, Blink-182, Green Day, Muse, right? But when you smash all that together, it's not a very pretty sound. It's like,
Well, sometimes it can be.
if you're good.
Well, for me at the time, like I love sound and I love great music.
Yes.
And I loved the punk rock thing in the 2000s, but when I grew up on things like Deep Purple
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Quo, and then I really loved the 80s glam stuff, Van Halen, Crew.
And that really comes out in your guitar playing too. Like, I've heard you play guitar, like, especially Perth United. And that's where I first actually met you, because it was thanks to you and Steph that, even Big Things Coming exists, because, since I first got introduced to all the local legends here, it was like I didn't know anyone, right? And I was hibernating, just waiting, to play music. And then I met you, and I saw you playing guitar one day, and
you went, oh my God!
I was like, I'm a guitarist too. Oh, but you're really good. You're really good.
Dude, like, I don't know if did you ever play in the same sort of thing with Jacob? Because it's something else.
Yeah.
It's something else.
He's got a guitar amp I want.
I've just got,
you know the one I'm talking about, eh? That's
I've got to ask,
Soldano.
are you primarily just a guitarist, or do you sing as well?
I do sing. He's the frontman.
He's got this.
Wow.
Have you not heard the voice? It is so. I'm sorry. It is just like, whoa. Like, it's there.
His voice, you would not expect to come out of him.
Oh my God.
That's the only way to explain it.
Excellent.
Like,
we were
forward to hearing
joking
it.
about this before.
Yeah.
Because I was a choir kid when I was in
Yeah,
primary
yeah,
school.
yeah.
And I did like to sing, and I had a very high voice, because, you got to picture me at like 10 years old. I could sit on my hair. It was dead straight, and I was the smallest kid in class.
Yep,
I had a
me
really
too, man.
high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
I was a very effeminate little man,
yeah.
And then I, hit high school and puberty happened. And then I got a little bit more dudeish, but I really liked singing like that. And for me, like, the best sounds are those amazing big wide guitar sounds and big high vocals.
Yeah,
Things like
yeah.
Journey,
Yes.
Boston, Brad Delp's one of my favorite
the
singers.
big vibratos.
And the things that make your hair stand up on end.
Yes.
So that's where I was like, I want to sing like that. But weirdly, when I've tried to train myself vocally, and we've talked about this,
We
one of
have
my
many
favorite
conversations.
singers is Howard Jones.
Yes.
But like, I'm just not a big enough dude to sound like Howard.
Yeah, he's got that barrel happening.
Yeah.
You know.
He does a roar. When I do it, it's like,
No, not even, dude. Not even, like, far out.
But he's really inspiring. I think
Yeah.
that's why, we were joking about it when we were tracking vocals
Yeah.
once, that the vibrato starts to get out of control.
It does get out
a
of
little
control.
bit.
It's got a mind of its own.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to remember not to do so much of that. But yeah, it becomes naturally because of the people you listen to.
Of
And
course.
when you hear that, I just want to go like,
Yeah. I've had we've had so many conversations, and every conversation that I have with Jacob is always unique to itself, but it's also really fucking inspiring, you know, like you've got to listen to him sing. So when I was really nervous to sing around Jacob, because I'd seen the band, and then like I'm like, do you want to sing some harmonies with me? Like, you want to do this? You know, I was a bit scared to sing around him because he's just so good.
Makes you feel any better? I've felt very scared to sing around you because you are the primary. When we did the Perth United together, which was not planned at all, we were going to have somebody else come in and they pulled out. So I was like, well, need a guitarist, so it's going to be me then. And that was so good to be able to work with you like that because, you get that vocabulary, but I was almost like, do I just want to let her tell me what to do? Or should I just give her some ideas? And you were a little bit like, should I give him an idea? Or should we and eventually when we started working together, it was kind of like really good like that because we could, I think the little bit of fear went away and then it was like, sing it like you mean it. You know, like, all right.
Okay.
Like, do you want to do that again? But this time not
Better.
crap. Okie dokie.
Like, how was that for you guys? Because you're both like the front of your bands, and obviously, like I assume the leadership roles for both of your bands. How was that like in Perth United? Like you didn't like clash at all?
In Perth United.
Yeah.
No. I had such deep respect for Jacob.
Yeah.
Likewise.
And like it wasn't even about it. There was no room for that stuff, you know.
Well, I think because there's also no time for it.
No.
Because we were under 12
and it's
hours.
not a place that you bring your own ego either, you know. Like you kind of have to check that.
Yeah.
Leave it there. You're working with other people collaboratively in a 12-hour time frame.
Yep.
And you've got to work
like,
with them.
Like the panic button kicks in and it's like, no, you know what? Time's on. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
But no, like truly, like it was that actually for a lot of different reasons wasn't my most amazing recording experience, but it was one of my favorite experiences because I got to know Jacob really well.
Yep.
We worked really collaboratively together, and it was just joyous to find somebody because I can sometimes be a bit odd, and to find somebody that actually got me and understood how my brain works.
The synesthesia.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to get into that another time. But
But yeah, it was a tremendous experience.
I've got to ask because we've mentioned your name in multiple episodes.
Oh yeah,
now.
every single episode, by the way, your name gets dropped.
for those at home that don't actually know, well, you should know.
Yes.
Should know now. Jacob Kenny is one of the organisers of Perth United.
Yeah.
And we've said pretty much in every episode, we've got to do it again. We have to.
do you want to do it?
100%.
Yeah, you should.
You're like as in run it.
Yeah, man the helm.
Now, I know, I can't say I feel what you felt, you and Steph. Like, I can empathise that. I understand logistically it would have been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Right? Organising, nearly 100 musicians, was it?
I think there were 120 odd.
There you go.
Wow.
Big pull.
12 hours to write, record, and release a song. And then you've also got the recording studios, right?
Wasn't that fun?
So how can Perth help to get this happening again? Perth United 2.0. What would you need in order for it to happen smoothly?
I spoke with Steph at length about this, particularly towards the end when we were summarising it and we did the telethon show. And this was just before then, because really the way we put Perth United together it was a thing I always wanted to do. I don't know if you're familiar with Roadrunner United. So that's what I really wanted to do. And Steph really wanted to do this like 12-hour lock a band in a room and see what they came up with. And I said, how about we just make the bands at random and stick them in there? And so that's why we ended up kind of, doing the fusion dance. And doing it.
That is the second time today.
Yes.
I'm loving the Dragon Ball Z references, by the way. Like, you're speaking my language.
And he has that drive, so he really wanted to push Perth United the way that like he was pushing it. And I think
It's
that's
like a
why
musician's big brother.
Yeah.
right? But without the cameras and stuff. It's more of like a science experiment for music. And
it worked really well, but what we both realised at the end of it was how taxing it was on our independent lives. Because it was 21 months.
yeah.
It took.
Was it 21?
It was 21 months from initiating Perth United to Perth Rocks 23.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was, I mean,
See,
for me, that it nearly ended my relationship for a start.
Yeah.
Steph, he was awake at all hours with it, and we both looked at each other going like, we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve here. Would we do it again? Absolutely not. And the
Not in
reason
that way,
was
right?
because it was just everything that we learnt about it, all the negative stuff of it was really weighing at the time. But after we got past it, we were like, man, it was so good. You know?
Yeah.
But I think if we were to do it again, I think what we had learnt was that maybe I wouldn't do 12 hours.
Yep.
And I didn't really want to do 12 hours at first anyway, but I actually really liked that we did because some of the things that came out were amazing. I would allow for post-production. I would allow for a lot more support around a product that comes out instead of just quick. Ready, steady, cook is about to finish and we've got to get it out. I'd allow for much more. Funding wise though, it's hard. Everybody had a lot of goodwill, but even then Steph was really out of pocket. And then conversely, when I did Perth Rocks, I was really out of pocket. So it was one of those like, I mean, how do you make it financially viable so not everybody goes bankrupt? That's hard. The fact that we had the charity element of it made it easier for people to want to give.
Yes, because it's not as if the money was going in any of our pockets. It's for a greater cause.
So that made it easier to get people to donate their time. So if we were going to do it again, it would have to be like that, or it would have to be bankrolled in a way to be able to really produce it. I think it should happen again. I don't think it needs to happen like immediately, but I think people like yourself would be the people to do it next. It'd be so good to hand
I feel
that
like
to
the
someone.
torch is being passed.
Look, I wish I could, but when you started talking about the mental health aspect, like, dude,
for real. Like, I mean, obviously, I obviously knew these guys and very, very closely. So I knew the experiences that they had gone through. I didn't know. I didn't go through it with them. But I knew how it affected them. And like, hats off to you and Steph. Because I mean, you persevered with it. You know, a lot of people would have been like, fuck this, I'm out. Do you know what I mean? And then not only did you persevere with it, you're going on to do the Perth Rocks thing still, which is like, you've had this one experience which was so taxing and so affected on your life, but now you're still kind of doing it, but just in the way that you wanted to do it now, like in a more cohesive, friendly way for you. And, you know.
Perth Rocks, I always saw independent of Perth United, but and that's a story that comes via Carl, because Perth Rocks originally was Coke Fest. And the first Perth Rocks was in 2019, and I've always had a good relationship with Carl. We spoke a lot, and he organised it originally with Matt Hatton, and like really we just talked a lot. I was actually in Montreal at the time, and he was just contacting me daily of how about this and how about that, and I'm like, man, it's your show, you do it. And he's like, but I don't know. Eventually, the first one went in 2019. It was a great success.
It was.
And then it was like, oh, we'll do 2020. Well, 2020 had its issues for various reasons. And then 2021 was when we were able to deliver the next one. And what happened just in that period of time, I felt like the brand got bigger than itself. So huge. And everyone just wanted to be a part of it. And that's kind of when I picked up and got my hands a bit more dirty with it, because I was resource rich at the time. I knew how to be able to get a hold of somebody with a PA. I knew how to organise these things, and I could put it on. And when we were doing Perth United, kind of dovetailing off that, that's when I thought, okay, if I'm going to run this one solo, I want it to be the biggest stinking festival I can ever possibly make. And I'll put everyone on it and buy a big headliner, and we put 28 acts on in 2023, and it was great. But again, it's terrifying. But somebody's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
Exactly. Like, and that's why I respect what you did, because no person would dare to take on that role of being the entire organizer. And I was speaking to you. I remember how you and we had a chat, and you're like, dude, it's fucking stressful.
It's a bit of a poison chalice, because everybody wants to play on it, And which is just for the listeners.
Yes. Yeah.
Since 2023, I think I get bombarded with at least 4 or 5 messages a week on average. And if there's an announcement or anything comes up, I'll get maybe 4 or 5 a day.
Yeah.
And
about
just
this
so everyone
festival.
knows, I'm guilty as well.
You are, I told you off for that. I was like, stop messaging Jacob.
But not just me. So the venue owner, when I went and met with the venue owner that we played with last time, he's like, mate, do you know how many people contact me about that show? And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I have to say, that's not me, man. I just own the pub. And I'm just... And so I had more evidence that these things become bigger than what... They don't belong to you anymore.
Yeah,
Like, they kind of
yeah.
belong to the people,
But
and
you-
I love that.
You can kind of understand why, though, because every band that's starting out, they want to play on a festival. Of
course.
Like, that's still, like, Colourmine's dream.
Dude,
is
I want to play on a festival.
Yeah.
Like every
Belgravia,
fucking weekend.
Occult
Like,
Bouquet,
That'd be great,
like,
yeah.
You want to get on those big ass festivals because that's where you can, converse with other bands and their fans and listeners,
Yes.
etc. Get your brand out there. Brand awareness is
To a
huge,
large
right?
audience.
yeah. Well,
So
hopefully.
I understand it, but leave Jacob alone.
Let the man get some sleep.
Please. Have you got any secret squirrel business that
Yes.
you can announce
give it,
about
give it.
Perth Rocks 2024?
Yes. So...
Here we go. Are you ready, everyone?
Are you ready? There will be another one. There's going to be more than one.
Oh!
So I'll link this in with the fact that a lot of people have been harassing me online.
Wait, so you're talking about like a weekend sort of?
No,
No?
I'm not.
I know.
There's so many people who want to play, and also because the bands that have been playing are starting to look fairly similar, and otherwise it's just going to be the same bands
Same.
over and over.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's actually a good thing. And
I don't think at all it's very healthy. Like it's not good for the community. It's not good for collaboration. It's not good to say, we're going to have all these rock bands and not paying attention to the folk and
Yeah.
the indie and do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think
You-
it's supposed to be an industry.
You
it's
wanna
the same
mix it up.
punters that come.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other thing.
yeah.
And I noticed when you put 28 bands on that are all in a similar community, it's hard to sell tickets because everybody
Yeah.
who would go to that show's on it.
Yeah.
So
True.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, I call it a good investment. Yeah. So, hey, I'm seeing all my favourite bands in one place.
That's right. It's free.
Yeah.
Nobody has to pay for anything. Sound guys are doing it for free. So, yeah, that kind of thing made me go, I really need to make some changes for this next one. So there will be another. Thanks. I'll probably give some more information via the Perth Rocks page, but depending when this is airing. So May is when applications for the festival are opening. So
Right.
I'm formalising that this time. The way it was before, I picked the full lineup, or Carl
Yeah.
picked the lineup, and we all just decided that this is the way
I
it's going to
love
go.
the application process.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's
I've
great.
got some nominated bands that are already approached, and I won't disclose who they are.
No, that's right.
But they've been approached already, and that's generally the headliners and a couple of people that we really want to offer to because they've either missed out or something like that. Then the rest of it is going open for application,
Yep.
and that's why I want the people who I've never heard of or the people
Yep.
I haven't gone to see and a chance to go to the gigs.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to have a provision. It's like, where are you playing next? Oh, you're playing here? Cool. I'll actually go down to that gig and check it out.
Yeah.
So they're not
Yeah.
submitting by like a track or a video or anything like that, just an application?
They can do all of it. So
Okay.
it's going to be formalized online form where you put all the details
Yep.
in, you put your links to your socials and everything, and then I want, what have you got coming up? So then I can go and have a look. And really what I'm looking for there is like, hey, we're playing, this is going to be great. I'm going to go there. And if there's like only mum and dad there, I might go, okay, well, if I really want you to play because I really love the band, I'm probably not going to put you on the headline plot at the
Yeah.
biggest stage at the
Yeah.
end of the thing, But like I can kind of structure the day a little bit around that.
You can make like educated decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's the go. That's coming up in May. So that'll run over in May. And then the announcement of so we're going to do 2 stages, or not stages as in like people who are playing on what stages, but a staged announcement. So there'll be kind of the first lot of bands. There'll be 18. So there'll be like the first 9 and the next 9.
Yeah.
And
So
and the
18
dates.
bands total for the day?
Yeah, I don't want to do any more than 18.
Yep.
I think it might even, depending on how I can fit it, it might go down to 17. But yeah, I think any more than that and it goes a little bit crazy. It will be a Sunday. So yeah, it's hard because the tribute acts have taken every venue in town all year, every Saturday
Yeah.
until we die. But it's fine. I respect that. They're making money for venues.
you know
and
what?
Thanks, guys.
It's good.
Yeah,
You know
it is
what?
good.
With enough notice, right? It gives you enough time to book the Monday off work.
Oh, even then though, like it'll finish at 10:30, so it's enough
Yeah.
time to get home and
Have
you
your
know
Milo.
have your Milo, pack
Have
your
your
lunch,
veggie on
Yeah.
toast.
Yeah.
yeah, and then you can go to work.
I'm not going to work the next day. Even as a supporter of the music, I'm taking the Monday off. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
I'm coming down. I'm coming to listen to all the bands. Yeah, I'm there for a good time. Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
So we're expanding the brand, so there will be that one. There will be one that is tentatively booked at the moment for February. So we're going to do a spring one and a summer one.
yeah, right.
So all the people who missed out on the first one will hopefully get a look in
Yeah.
on the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Jacob from Legacy Alive, where can everyone find you, your music?
You can find it on all streaming platforms. Anywhere that you usually consume your music, you'll be able to find Legacy Alive
That's
music.
Legacy Alive. So Spotify,
Spotify,
Apple Music.
Yep. Google Play.
Bandcamp.
everything. Yeah. Sorry.
YouTube.
Yep, YouTube.
YouTube.
Got a YouTube channel there. Got a couple of clips there. We're hoping to do a couple more as well. But yeah, they're all over. I think there is a TikTok, but it might be asleep at the wheel. I'm too old for that.
There's too many socials now, man.
Yeah.
There's so many.
But yeah, everywhere that you consume music, you'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
We're going to do some hard prints as well. We'd like to do a vinyl print.
Yeah,
Nice.
Something token.
Yeah.
and
That'd be
fun
awesome,
words,
man.
but-
Because you've always got sick artwork. You know,
Yeah.
it's like eye candy. You know, it pops out. It's always sick.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much good thoughts that go into that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know how his brain works, so I've worked with
Glam
him.
and
He's a
ridiculous.
doctor.
Yes, I know. And it's just it's everything is done with intent and thought, and it just
Yeah.
and you can see it in the,
And
in
it's
the
pure rock.
end products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you so
We love
much for
you.
jumping on, Jacob.
Shout out one more time.
Big thank you to Mustang Print, our official sponsor,
Everyone
Mr.
is
Dave,
like,
Dave
"No."
Gillum. And also, big shout out to all the staff at the Hen House Rehearsal Studios.
Thank you.
Row.
And also, thank you to Peter Renzullo from Scudley Films. We love your work, dude.
Yes.
All the staff behind the scenes, Fiona, Jardel, Cam.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
Thank you,
Yeah, we
Jacob.
love you,
Thank you, mate.
dude.
Pleasure, bro.
We'll hopefully see you soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Big things
Take
coming.
care.
See you later.
Bye.